Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of Internet Friends, the episode where we go over our favorite Nazi punching techniques.
Because Elon Musk is a Nazi. Thank you so much.
Yes.
Elon, yes.
Confirmed.
Confirmed Nazi.
There's non-AI video evidence of it, so yeah.
Did you see that priest that got removed from the church because he did the salute?
Well,
yeah, I saw that.
He actually did it too, because everyone else is like, oh, see, I'm doing it. I was like, no, you're not, you little bitch. Do it.
No, you can't hand up it. You gotta do the whole thing. I'm not gonna do it.
I know, I'm keep it pretty low here. I'm not a fucking Nazi.
My favorite. Yeah, my favorite thing about the Elon one specifically is the fact that basically didn't bother to defend himself. Everybody else was the one defending him, and then when he actually made a statement about it, it was a troll fucking post on Twitter.
Right.
He did it twice. He fucking did it twice. He knew exactly what he was fucking doing.
And the whole "my heart goes out to you." There's a video of him doing the "heart goes out to you" motion.
He knew exactly what the fuck he was doing.
He said it after he did it as like an, oh shit, I gotta have plausible deniability here.
Yep. It was so quick too. He was so quick with it as well. So I was like, oh yeah, you were just like, oh whoops.
Yeah.
I do appreciate the litmus test that it has done on social media of basically how people reacted to it, to be like, okay, who am I blocking and who am I not blocking from here on out? Like, that's appreciated at least.
Also, the whole autistic angle, which is, I'm like,
fuck you.
I'm like,
we're all neurodivergent here.
I was to say, I'm like, I've never accidentally done a Nazi salute. Like, it's never fucking happened. So, fuck
exactly
off, all the way.
Yeah.
Not to mention,
I've never accidentally committed a hate crime because of my autism.
Weirdly enough.
Not to mention, like, I know I have German descent. Seth, I think you have some German descent on here. Brie, I don't know,
well.
so we all have German descent, and we're all equally just like, yeah, no, fuck that shit.
Yeah, no, that was fucked up. Like,
I will say,
I'm Berliner and all that, but fuck that shit.
I will say I've been appreciating like a lot of the punk rock scene, kind of like having a resurgence from all this stuff going on. But so that's been good, and we'll talk about a little bit about that later in the show. But yeah, so my preferred notching punching technique is my 12-gauge shotgun, but you know.
I was just about to say with a knife and pull out my knife, but you did better.
I have the Benchmade here ready to go. I got the fixed blade ready to go. Definitely don't have too many knives in my house.
Yeah, I have a lot of really heavy crystals, so it's unassuming, so people won't know.
You like more of the blunt force, which I respect. By the way, absolute respect. Good hammering technique.
Blunt force is a great way. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I prefer the knife.
Just
I do want to get a taser. Actually, they have these really cute tasers that are shaped like.
You don't have a taser?
No, just because
Emily has a pink one literally sitting in the bathroom on the charger right now.
Here's the thing. I used to have pepper spray, and that thing got accidentally triggered so many times. And I was like, I'm gonna myself with a taser. I'm going to accidentally kill myself somehow. But I think I'm going to get one.
Yeah, the biggest problem with pepper spray is that, and then also the fact that like it does like deteriorate over time. So like if you don't end up using it, which hopefully you don't have to, but.
I used it mostly on myself on accident, so not very useful.
Yeah, exactly.
I sprayed it on my eggs because I wanted that taste.
You needed that flavor. You had to feel something.
Yeah, I gotta feel something.
Ugh.
I find it very weird that Seth is the one twirling the knife when I have like probably objectively more knives than he does.
Oh, you absolutely have more knives. I planned a bit where I was gonna be like using all of my knives, but I only had 4 of them, and I'm like, 4 isn't funny. Like,
I can pull out my cigar box that's sitting in my bedroom next to the desk that has all of my folding knives in
it. Nice.
In my defense,
You learned this working in kitchens. You work in enough kitchens, you learn how to do shit like this.
Honestly, like if you know anybody who has worked as a line cook, they know like better knife technique than just about 90% of the population.
Oh yeah. It's scary fuckers sometimes.
Oh yeah, people who should not be around sharp objects end up working in kitchens.
Oh, absolutely they do. And they throw them a lot into the dish pit.
So did they go with like the straight throw, or do they try to get the right amount of spin on it?
It depends on the day. Sometimes they're feeling fancy. I would always try to put the spin on it and get a little bit of fancy with it before, stabbing it into the cutting board.
That's always fun.
Yeah. Oh, that's the wrong side.
Bree's just like, I don't have nearly as many sharp objects except for the pins in the background.
Yeah.
I could probably poke somebody pretty severely with those.
Hey, as long as you hit a main artery, that's all you need.
That's true. That's true.
I'm pretty scrappy. I think I'll be okay. So
you are. You're like a squirrel. You move fast.
100%. Yes.
Yeah. Regardless, we're all ready for World War III/Civil War II, whichever one we're labeling this as.
I don't want to fight in a war. I just want to make silly jokes on the internet, but fuck.
The way things are going, it's not looking good for you, bud.
No, it is not.
Not for any of us, really.
At least we're all in blue states, so we have moderate okay chances.
Hey, we're not going to get hit as hard with the terrorists from Canada, so that's nice.
Yeah, as we talked about in the pre-show, it just feels like we're basically just trying to tank the economy as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
Anyways, we kind of discussed it earlier in the pre-show. So last time we were on this show, TikTok was basically on its deathbed, ready for us to pull the plug. And not even 12 hours later, it was brought back to life. The weird thing
I posted a video of me crying playing the instrumental to Good Riddance.
I saw it. I should have saved that video. I should have saved it, and I didn't.
Thank God you didn't, because that was embarrassing. 12 hours later.
LOL, JK, everybody.
We didn't even get a chance to miss it. We were still
no.
Saying it was just
President Trump, who was not president at the time, saved it. I was like, you can't do that.
I am
power right now.
It was so funny. I had gone through all the stages of grief at that point and was just I feel like it should have stayed dead. I was ready for post TikTok world.
I ended up falling asleep because I was so emotionally exhausted after seeing all of the creators on live crying and bawling their eyes out that I passed out for a couple hours. And then I was up in the middle of the night being like, okay, how do we adjust? And then I fell back asleep, woke up, and it was back.
Yep, those kind of
literally,
my experience.
Literally, I deleted all my meta apps. Twitter was off my phone, everything was gone. So it was just it was just Blue Sky, and I was like, all right, we're going Blue Sky. It gave me those old school Twitter vibes of just hey, you could just kind of workshop some ideas, character limit really quick jokes and whatnot. I was kind of enjoying it for the most part. Literally, I sat down at this desk with I made myself a sandwich for lunch, and then that's when basically it's back online.
Yeah, no, the reason I knew is because you sent me a video.
Yeah, I was just I was there, and I get the only news push notifications I get are from the Associated Press because for the most part it's straight news. It's not anything incredibly partisan, but it's just it's a good way to stay updated on really big happenings. And it just came through, and I was just okay, opened up TikTok. It's yeah, it's back, shitty quality. And then just the entire comeback of the platform was just everybody's paranoid, everybody's doing all the stuff and everything.
A lot of paranoia.
Which is totally valid for how it went down. Let's be fair.
Absolutely. I don't know, man. People were freaking out over shit like lives not being back. And I'm it says that some things won't be available right away.
Yeah.
And they did shut the app down.
Yeah. I'm not saying there wasn't a backdoor deal going on in the background. That's obviously a thing that is probably happening. But in terms of the conspiracy theories of Meta already having it and it being on Meta servers, I was just no, you guys are.
No,
it's a stretch. And my algorithm more or less was still consistent. The whatever kind of leeway in terms of the different kind of content that comes from. There was no wild variance on it. I was seeing a lot more people who I hadn't seen in a long time suddenly start popping up. But again, it wasn't like anything outrageous.
Yeah. No, I my For You page hasn't changed at all. Now, bear in mind, the second we got access to it, I did block Facebook and Instagram and Meta immediately.
I'm surprised
And
they weren't already blocked.
Well, I didn't know.
Right.
And but I've heard that has fixed a lot of people's For You pages.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. But yeah, so yeah, I mean, going back to it, the way that it came back feels very skeevy and everything else, and there's obviously a lot of room for it to go downhill still, depending on who ends up actually buying it in the meantime. I've heard multiple things. I've heard the joke ones about Mr. Beast. I've heard about Microsoft being interested, but Microsoft was interested like back when they first started talking about finding a buyer, so I'm not super competent in that. Granted, if anybody is going to buy it not doing anything with it, it's going to be Microsoft, because that's just what they do. It's just buy shit and not doing anything with it.
Yeah. That's true.
Yeah.
We'll talk about it soon, I'm sure. We're going to get into the Xbox announcements.
Yeah. But regardless, yeah, the fact that TikTok came back from the dead, I'm just like, I was ready for it to stay dead at the time it was.
I personally was not. I have invested a lot into this app. But I absolutely agree that we cannot stay there. If the intention is to protest, if the intention is to organize, it's only going to get worse, and we have to find another place. I still love it while it's here. It's been a wonderful place, but I am prepared to eventually move somewhere else.
Brie, how are you feeling? It's
important to stay on while it's here, because I feel like, and I think Seth, you made a really good video about this, but because I feel like so many of my, especially white friends, were posting like, I just deleted my TikTok and I'm never going on there again. I was like, friends, I hear what you're saying. And yeah, the app's probably going to go downhill at some point, but it is still the best place to get current information, to actually hear the voices of people that we need to hear right now, because Instagram and everything else fucking shadow bans the fuck out of that. I get all of my good information about the boycotts and things like that on TikTok. So I'm like, while we have it, we need to interact with those posts. We need to interact with those creators so that we have that information. So I think that's really important distinction to make with all of this.
And TikTok was never a perfect platform to begin with. It also does the shadow ban thing and everything else like every other platform does. But it has been the most effective in its algorithm of making sure that the people who need to hear the certain information get it. And because Instagram's trash, Facebook's trash, Twitter is trash, YouTube, not what it used to be. Like, used to be kind of like, in my opinion, the gold standard. It's not great these days.
It's too new, I think, and I don't know if it could reach that height by any means. So
yeah, and it's one of those things, and it's just that and my hope is whatever, I said specifically when the ban was coming through, I said that, like, it's going to go away. Obviously, that has turned out to be wrong. But there has to be something that takes its place, because there's no way that is going to be sustainable. Because the moment that somebody else gets its hands on it, especially in the US, whether it's Meta, whether it's X, whether it's Microsoft, no matter who it is, it's not going to be the same once it changes hands, because they have a completely different goal. They have a completely different economic model that they have to follow, and it's not going to be what we know it to be.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
So yeah, but I've been doing Blue Sky for now. It's basically in its baby Twitter form, for me at least. And so, like, it's been nice to be able to go back to shit posting again. And like having a platform that's not super mainstream yet, and being able to like say shit that I know I can't say literally on any other searchable social media.
That is nice. I'm having to readjust to the text format. I've been existing in solely video for so long that I'm like, oh shit, does this work in text?
It makes it
But,
easy to ignore, to be honest. Like, I forget I have Blue Sky all the time. And I was like, oh, I should maybe at least like interact with people on there.
Well,
but I'm not used to that medium anymore.
Yeah, and the weird thing is that Blue Sky is like really set up to like they want you to personalize how you want to do it, and then as such, like because they don't have like an aggressive like push notification system and like keep you engaged type stuff, like you do forget about it, which is why so many of these platforms went to the algorithm based, constantly vying for your attention style that they typically do.
Yeah.
But yeah, I have re-downloaded Instagram just because that's where the majority of people who I know are actually at and posting regularly, which is annoying. Yeah. But still no Facebook, and Twitter's dead to me, so it's fine.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Twitter's completely dead. But I even made a post about this on Instagram because I was like, I'm going to delete it. And then I was like, oh, shit, this is the only place I talk to like 4 of my friends, and I don't want to lose contact with them. Yeah. All right.
And like you talked about too, like the only place I talk to you, Seth, outside of this podcast is TikTok for the most part.
Exactly.
Yeah. I wish there was something better for Instagram because I'm just like, I would love for there to be something, but I'm like,
I was about to say, because that's where you more or less live.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's go back to Flickr.
Oh, God. I actually got notifications from Flickr a while back. I got like a notification from somebody who was like doing a story about Comic-Cons, and they found some of my old con photos and were like asking permission to use them for a story they were writing. I was just like, I took these photos 9 years ago.
Yeah. But sure, I guess if you want to use them.
That's wild.
See,
I remember Daily Booth. I don't know if any of you were on Daily Booth.
I was on Daily Booth. I was about to say, anybody remember Photo Bucket?
Yes!
Photo Bucket! Oh my God. Maybe we should all just reinstall MySpace.
I've thought about it several times.
Have you? I'm pretty sure I deleted my original MySpace, but I'm pretty sure my artist account is still out there somewhere. From like when I was like 16.
The last time I looked at, because I don't have the login for it anymore, last time I looked at my MySpace account was my freshman year of college, which was now like...
Wow.
Which at this point now is like 13 years ago.
Oh, man.
It's a while.
Wasn't there like a moment where like I think all MySpace's servers got deleted and they lost all the photos?
Oh, I hope so.
To which I'm just like, hope so. To which I was just like, stay dead. Yeah. Don't get up.
For all our
do not.
For
I don't
everyone's
need those
sake,
pictures resurfacing.
Just stay dead.
Yeah. Did you hear that Tom? Maybe this was a joke account that I saw this from, but Tom and the creators of MySpace are suing Facebook for stealing some of their ideas.
Yeah, I saw that. I think that is a joke account because if they were going to sue them, they should have sued them a long time ago.
That's true. Tom was the GOAT, by the way. Tom was there when no one else was.
Here's the thing. I honestly think that like the MySpace experience was maybe peak social media in my mind.
I honestly don't even remember how MySpace functioned. I remember the top friends. I remember the bulletin board.
I think the difference between MySpace and how social media works now, especially with Facebook, which is obviously the one-to-one comparison because they were competitors at one point, is that MySpace was very more personalized to your actual socials. Like, it was people you actually knew. And all the outside stuff more or less like kind of was it was there, but it wasn't like the forefront of the social media platform. I think Facebook just ended up being more refined for a short period of time while MySpace died. And then Facebook became what it became.
That's fair.
So deep in my memory banks, I just can't even. I was like, I don't know. I was so young when those websites came out.
I mean, right? Hey, set up your profile how you want. HTML, do all that stuff. You can have
a lot more creative those days. We really did.
It was great for musicians, especially because people like got to put on a profile song and basically got to share their favorite music, and people got to discover music through the platform. It was good. It was a good vibe. It was just I don't know what Facebook did that got everybody onto it back in the day.
It was the majority of my friends had it, and all of them had migrated to Facebook. And I was like, fine, I guess I'll go over there.
But like the thing is, it's like I don't know what the thing was. Like, what was the hook of Facebook?
Farmville, Mafia.
Oh God, yeah, they did
Maybe
have
that
that.
is it. Yeah, like the gamification. Because I'm like, I did play a lot of fucking games on Facebook.
So did I.
Which is weird because who does that anymore?
The IMing was better on Facebook than it was
That
on
is true.
MySpace.
That is true.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah, I think the chat services in this, because I remember we had to come up with weird solutions for MySpace back in the day. I think like we actually created a weird like HTML plugin for like a AIM chatbot to be on somebody's profile, and we could go to somebody's profile and like have like a live chat on the profile itself.
Yeah, because I do remember that like just chatting was very difficult on MySpace. Yeah, because so much of it was like commenting on posts, commenting on your wall.
Yeah, but that was just novel back in the day. That was a new concept for the most part.
It was, social media was new. We were coming off of Friendster, which I never had, but other people did.
Yep. It was also super segmented too, right? So like back in the day, and this is the time I was nostalgic for social media. Now I hate all social media for the most part. But like Instagram was just pictures. It was pictures.
Yeah.
Put a filter on it, like a little like blurb underneath. Twitter was where you basically just shit posted and just like thought dumped your internal thoughts out there. MySpace, Facebook was where like you just kept up with friends and family. YouTube's where you watched, your cat videos and your goofs, and like everything basically stayed in its lane, and then basically everybody started copycatting.
Yeah.
Simpler time, truly.
I mean, the only reason I made an Instagram was because Instagram's connection to Twitter was better than TwitPic at the time.
Yeah, it was so good.
And
it used to be so good because you would just post on Instagram and it would be on Twitter.
Yep, it would automatically share to Twitter, and that was so nice, and not having to go through, because TwitPic sucked.
Oh, it was horrible. Yeah, we're old.
We are so old.
Did y'all play Neopets, or was that before your time?
I played Neopets.
No, we all played Neopets.
Yeah.
I played Neopets with Aaron.
Yes, I remember that. That was back in the Hangout days. We all started a new Neopets profile.
That's peak internet for me. I'm just like, that was like, I still fuck with Neopets occasionally. It's just, I love it.
It's insane to me that all this stuff was happening and like World of Warcraft was like popping up for a lot of my friends, and I never played World of Warcraft.
Yeah. I started downloading World of Warcraft, and then I was like, no, I can't. I can't do
Smart
this
move.
to myself.
I played it for a long time, so once you start, you cannot stop until you're like, wait a second, I've been doing the same quest.
I was about to say, isn't your partner
now.
like currently like chest deep into the WoW game right now?
We've gotten to the point where he has to communicate with me ahead of time that he's about to play WoW, so that I know that I'm going to be ignored for the next couple hours. So it's like, fine.
I'm sorry, babe. I can't do our weekly Discord call. I have to go collect 20 bear asses for this quest. I don't know how WoW works. It's basically the most foreign concept to me. So if I say anything offensive to the WoW community, just know I don't respect you anyways.
If I say anything offensive, fuck you.
If I say anything offensive, it's because it was intentional.
Standing on business. I appreciate that.
Look, there's people who, if I offend intentionally, it's because they deserve to be offended. If I offend somebody accidentally, I will apologize.
More than fair.
It's a good way to live.
Yep. Anyway, speaking of video games from a long time ago, our homework assignment, which was assigned by me, which semi was assigned by Seth, because Seth seems to be the most excited to talk about it, was the Portal franchise, Portal 1 and Portal 2.
I love those games so much.
So the reason I requested this as a homework assignment is because I did get them for very cheap on a Steam sale, like back I think in the summer sale actually, and they had been sitting there, and I never played them. I did play co-op slightly with my ex, and maybe was one of the reasons why I never went back and tried to play them again. But
Bad
they
memories.
they did occur in a time where basically I wasn't playing a lot of video games because I was a broke college kid, didn't have access to a console or a PC or anything like that that could actually play video games, nor had the time. And so it was a hole in my video game, lexicon for the most part. So I wanted to go back and visit it. I know Seth is a huge fan of these games, and they have a huge following and fan base for these games still to this day. So
I have a portal gun sitting right
I was
there.
about to say, I even see your figurines too.
Yep, I got the Atlas and Peabody.
Yep.
From
And
the multiplayer.
I guess we'll kind of just start. So, how far did everybody get? I did beat both main campaigns in the last couple of weeks. Seth,
Okay.
I know you know how to speed run these pretty quickly.
Yeah, so I did Portal 1 all the way through. I made it through about halfway of Portal 2, and then I was like, the trailer for Doom, The Dark Ages came out, and that caught my attention. I've played Portal 2 once a year for the last 13 years. I can talk about that game. I know that
I think
game.
that's right. Believe it or not, after beating Portal 2, I did uninstall both Portal and Portal 2 and install Doom 2016. And we'll be downloading Doom Eternal pretty soon. But that'll go
Eternal
into
is so good.
Yeah, we'll go into that topic a little bit later. But Brie, how far did you get?
I want to be very candid with both of you. When you assign both games, I'm like, I'm not playing Portal 2.
I did say Portal 1 was like bare minimum we needed to at least get through.
Yes. Just because, one, as we mentioned earlier, this month, and especially the last few weeks, have been a fucking lot. So,
what are you talking about? It's been 3 years since last time we talked.
It really feels like it. Like this, I put my sheets like this because there's so much stuff on my bed right now. I'm like in a depression hole right now. So because of all that, so could not. Although
fair.
Yeah. I did the best I could. I did play, and I did not beat the first game. And I want to mention the reason I did not is because this game made me very motion sick, and I could not play it for long stints of time. So I really wanted to, and I'm just going to say right off the bat, I think this game is brilliant. I think it is so much fun. I think it is such an interesting puzzle game. And I will say I'm so grateful that I played this now, because I think if I either played it when it came out and or like maybe even a couple of years ago, I think I would not have appreciated it as much as I do now, because I'm more exposed to puzzle games and I do not have like a puzzly mind at all. It's taken me a while to kind of get the cadence of how puzzle games work.
Yeah.
And honestly, because of Game Birds, now I'm a little more accustomed to it and like how to think like puzzle games do. So yeah, I think it's super, super fun. I had a good time with it. I'm definitely going to beat it. I needed to take breaks. So
yeah, I do agree with you, because I also am somebody who is not super like. We did Breath of the Wild back in the day, and there's puzzle elements to like all Zelda games, especially Breath of the Wild. But like they're spaced out in such a way, like you have the exploration element, you have like the combat element, and you have like the puzzle element, and like you can basically stretch out the puzzles and everything. Having a game that is straight just puzzle after puzzle after puzzle after puzzle, especially in Portal 2, I definitely got to a point of exhaustion where I was just like, I can't keep playing. I need to take breaks.
That's fair. Well, and also, Bree, speaking to the motion sickness, that's something I found that they fixed in the second game. It is not as disorienting in the second game.
That's good to know.
I would agree with that. I would say, even though I feel like I had more enjoyment playing Portal 1, Portal 2 has a lot of quality of a life and like improvements that make the game more forgiving. I definitely found, especially when you're like trying to do the segments where like you're trying to like jump and like get momentum and then portal through to like get to other sides. Like Portal 2 was more forgiving on that, whereas like the first Portal, like I definitely found myself like missing just by like small margins.
Yeah, the hitboxes are better in the second game, for sure.
But yeah, like my general opinion of these games is I'm glad I played these because I have a bigger appreciation for them now that I have played them. I also don't know if I'm going to revisit them anytime soon.
Oh, really? Interesting. Okay. Because for me, I didn't play Portal 1 originally. I only played that for the first time when the Companion Cube collection came out for Switch.
Okay.
I didn't get the orange box until just a couple of years ago. But Portal 2, I forgot what I was going to say. That game is responsible for me realizing that video games were more than just something for fun. The writing is so good, and like I just enjoyed every element of it. That's what got me wanting to learn more about level design and, you know, how video games work.
Yeah, and I have this on the topic doc very specifically, and like it's interesting because it's a first-person perspective game, and like is using the elements of a first-person shooter, but it's really an anti-first-person shooter.
Yeah,
in that it doesn't function in that way, because first-person shooters became popular not only from consumer perspective, from a design perspective, because it's simple. You click on thing dies. That's how first-person shooters more or less work. So this game doesn't do that whatsoever. Like you have to, like even in the combat where you're dealing with the turrets and everything, it's like you can't just click on the turret and then the turret dies. You have to figure out how to remove this combatant obstacle in a more creative way. And like and it's just very refreshing in how you kind of approach that, but by still using the basic mechanics of a first-person shooter.
Yeah, Brie, how far did you get into the game?
I don't know exactly. Well, here's the thing. I will say I was progressing a little slower because I did have to use a walkthrough once because I was like, I don't know what to do here.
Yeah.
And I'm a little upset because it was one of those things where I was like, oh, I just needed to like turn around and there was a wall that was slightly angled. Okay, that's fine.
There was maybe one time in Portal 1 that I had to like look up a guide. In Portal 2, I had to look up a guide like 3-4 times.
I played for like a solid like 3 hours. So I don't know exactly how far I got, to be honest with you, because again they had to be in kind of chunks of time. So but yeah, I would say I think I'm like maybe halfway through the first one.
Okay, have you escaped the test chambers, or are you still within the test chambers?
I think I'm still within them, maybe.
Oh, okay. All right. No, that checks out.
Yeah, the walkthrough I was watching, they completed the game in like 30 minutes, so I have really no like barometer for like how long.
That is the weird thing about a game, is that like it could be really, really quick if you know what you're doing, and if you don't know what you're doing, like obviously, like it could take you hours.
Well, that's honestly that's something that I've come to enjoy about like puzzle games like this, where it's just like, because again, I just don't have a puzzly mind. That's just not how I operate. Yeah. But I do kind of like the whole like, okay, I don't know what the fuck is happening. I'm like, okay, let's just piece this out. Okay, there's this wall here. I need to get there. These are the tools I have. What do I do to get this? Like, I kind of like that I have to like work through it, and that's just been enjoyable. Like I just think it's kind of fun to be able, like to your point, Seth, like it's nice to use my brain in a game where I actually have to be like, okay, I can't just barrel through this. I can't just like tank this whole thing, which I'm very used to doing. I'm like, I can figure this out. And it's honestly very satisfying once you get like, oh yeah, that's the fucking solution. Easy peasy, I got this. So it's very satisfying. The whole gameplay is like super satisfying.
Every time I had to look up a guide to figure out how to get out of a level, I was just like, God damn it, really?
Oh, you're so close. Yeah, exactly. That happened to me so many times. I was like, oh yeah, that makes sense.
Very specifically.
I remember.
Go ahead, Seth.
Oh, I remember when the game came out, I didn't look up walkthroughs for Portal 2, but I was working at a place where my coworker was also playing it, and he and I would give each other hints. And I remember one time being like, I cannot get through this room. And he's like, oh, you just do this. And I'm like, are you fucking serious? If that's all it is? God damn it.
So Seth, Seth, only you would have context for this, but so it was basically in Portal 2, basically start of the third act where basically the big twist happens. And then you start in the older part of facilities, and you start hearing J.K. Simmons as like the founder of Aperture Science, which great voice acting choice,
incredible role. Cave Johnson is so good.
As soon as I heard the voice, I was just like, "Is that fucking J.K. Simmons?" Because he's just doing J. Jonah Jameson, just in a different context.
Yeah, he absolutely is.
Which is great. Shout out to our Spider-Man episode. But like it was like that first like kind of like room where it's just like, you know, you have like the big signage kind of thing, and like there's like a bunch of different things that are like misnomers in there, and I'm just like, okay, so am I trying to get over here? Am I trying to jump over to this like weird like pipe cave thing on the side, or am I trying to get over to these doors like that were basically behind me when I came in? And so I was just like, okay, so I can't get there. I can't get through here. It's got to be over there, but I don't know how to get over there. And that's where I had to like look up the thing. It was just like, oh yeah, there's the thing here that you just basically have to put the portal onto. I was just like, how the fuck was I supposed to figure that out?
Mine was the moon rocks room when you're first exposed to the white gel.
Oh,
I was like, how am I supposed to make that work?
As soon as they introduced the gel mechanic, I was basically just like, fuck, I hate this. Like, basically the entire third act, especially where, like, the gel got, like, introduced is where I had to start looking things up.
So, Brie, since you didn't play it, in the second game, you are introduced to 3 different gels. One makes you bounce, one makes you run faster, and the other makes you able to place portals on any surface. So you have to, like, figure out where to place the gel to be able to place the portal, and then also run fast, and that's where it gets real complicated in the second game.
Yeah, and typically how it goes, there's like a leaking valve or something like that where you have to like, you can place the portal to have like the gel pop up and place it where you want it to, but there's also a physics trajectory to it.
There's a very similar mechanic in Chicken Journey, so I feel like I understand you completely, so don't you even worry about it.
Yeah, Chicken Journey. Mm-hmm. Go watch that episode on Game Birds.
Yes.
Find out more.
It's my game of the year, so.
Seth's off to go grab his Switch.
No, this is for a different thought that I'm going to have eventually. Okay, cool. I forgot the name of a thing. But yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, Seth, going back to your kind of point about game design, the reason that this game is still talked about and so influential over years is basically what it did for game design, because it really kind of like made people think more about what they could do. Like, honestly, this probably had more influence on the indie space than anything else, because I feel like I've played a lot of indie games over the years that took inspiration from how they design leveling from this, especially going to like Brie, you've talked about with your Game Birds analogy, like doing more puzzle games, because a lot of indies go the puzzle route because you know, from game design, and like trying to figure out a way how like you could solve this puzzle this way. There's a obvious way to solve it, but there's other ways you could also approach it if you really want to.
Yeah.
That's why I grabbed my Switch, is because there's another game I love called Subliminal. Have either of you played that?
I haven't played it, but I have heard of it.
I have seen gameplay footage of it.
All right. So for people who are unaware, it's a perception-based puzzle game, and it is very influenced by Portal. Like, hyperly influenced by Portal.
Yeah. And there's a lot of stuff that has come out since this, very specifically using Valve's Source engine. Stanley Parable is the one that kind of like comes to the most mind, which basically...
Is that Source?
That's Source.
I didn't realize that was Source.
Yeah, that used the Source engine, but like one of the notes I had on it, it's kind of interesting that Source never blew up in the indie space that like could have, based on how Portal used that engine.
Yeah, and there are so many people who make mods for games like Gmod.
I was about to say Gary's mod is basically if you want to start building games or levels and stuff, like it's right there.
Yep. There's a lot of Portal mods there. It seems to be much more popular in the mod community than it is in the mainstream gaming era.
Yeah.
Area.
I think part of that may be also a licensing thing, because Unreal, very specifically, which has kind of become like the gold standard for video game engines, is just because like they make it very accessible for people to learn on when they start game developing, because you can get access to start building in it. But once you get to a certain point, obviously they start charging money for it. But like a lot of people learn on Unreal, and so when they start actually making games, they go to Unreal. Unity was pretty big for a while.
Unity was huge.
They had a recent snafu with, CEO change and wanting to do a big cash grab out of it. And like, I think a lot of people have fell off Unity, but it's still there for like the indie side of stuff.
I've been playing some Resident Evil games. I want Capcom to open up the RE engine. That is an incredible engine. And it is so much better than Unreal.
Yeah. Konami's Fox engine that Metal Gear runs on is super impressive when you look at what they're able to do with it. But again, like it's kind of stuck with Konami specifically.
That's interesting because I didn't realize that they had the Fox engine. Because Silent Hill 2 was done in Unreal 5.
Right.
And that's a Capcom game.
Yep. And then
or not Capcom, Konami. Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, and then Halo is going to be moving over to Unreal pretty soon because they had their own proprietary engine for a while. So they're changing over to their Unreal pretty soon.
That makes sense, with how accessible Unreal is.
Yep. So, yeah, just very interesting how like such a easily moddable and I feel like has interesting goings on from a physics perspective that Source never really took off, especially with how influential this game has been.
Yeah. Well, this and Half-Life.
Yeah.
Like Half-Life 2 runs off the same engine.
Well, that's because they never bothered to make a Half-Life 3.
That's true. Motherfuckers. I just want to know what happens to Gordon and my video game wife, Alex. I need to know where her story ends up.
I actually never played Half-Life, believe it or not.
I've only played 2, and it's great. It's really great. But you have to kind of put yourself in the mindset of 2005.
Yeah. No, I was looking at Half-Life on Steam for a hot second after finishing the playthrough, just being like, should I play it? Like, I think it's like $5 now on Steam.
Shit, that's affordable.
Yeah, like all the like add-ons and stuff like start adding up, and there's like packages in with like a bunch of other like Source games that you can buy. But still, like I think the most expensive package is like $40, which still isn't bad for like everything that you're getting.
Yeah.
But it would just basically make my Steam library bigger than it already is. Anyways, going back to kind of the conversation. So we talked a little bit about the Source engine. We talked about specifically about its influence on game design. How did you guys kind of feel about the story, Brie? I know you haven't gotten super deep into like how the story is going, but like, have you gotten a glimpse of like kind of like where it's going?
Not really. I'm gonna be again very candid with you. I found the music, like the background noise, to be very irritating. So I had the volume almost all the way off. I also don't really like the robot voice that talks to you all the time, so I had it muted for a lot of it.
That's such a great reveal. When she turns and is suddenly evil, it's such a good reveal.
I'm sure it is. I'm sure it was 25 years ago when the game came out.
So for the next episode, I'm going to put a sound changer on my mic to sound just like Gladys the entire time.
Yeah.
And that's the episode I actually quit.
So Seth, I know you love the story, especially specifically.
Why did I give a thumbs down? I didn't mean to give a thumbs down. I mean, I agree with the sentiment, but I would never.
Dislike.
Yeah.
Anyway, Seth, I know you've talked a lot about the story. Maybe kind of give us like kind of your thoughts on it for the most part.
First off, the story in Portal 1 is very lacking. And I think that was intentional.
Yeah.
I have always been somebody who feels as though the Portal 2 has just so much a better story and the way it plays through. Is that on my end or is that you?
No, it's
I
me.
can't.
It's me. Okay. It's something with my cables. This is what happens when you buy cheap XLR cables on Amazon. Everybody, they suck. Just so everyone knows.
Fair enough.
Fuck you, Jeff Bezos.
But yeah, I think because ultimately the portal of the story of Portal 1
The portal of story.
yeah, is just you're escaping this robot who you think is just like guiding you through the chambers, but is actually actively trying to kill you the entire time. The story of Portal 2 delves so much more into the history of aperture science. Cave Johnson is a huge proponent of that. You get to learn about GLaDOS, where she came from, her motivations to being an evil robot. And it's Portal 2 is really funny. It's a very funny game, the way it's written. And Portal 1, I think, is much more serious in tone.
I think Portal 1 in general, like, it more or less was designed as a tech demo for the Source engine.
I agree.
Obviously. But there was a lot of thought put into it, and like kind of how like the way they wanted it to unfold, and like obviously they have all the Easter eggs that kind of like show you over time that just like, hey, this is just a whole bunch of kind of like fun tests. There's like something else going on in the background.
Yeah, all of the Ratman stuff, all of his like secret chambers.
Yeah, so like kind of really good on that. But yeah, like Portal 2 definitely is where like they tried to actually make an actual narrative and game out of it, whereas like Portal 1 definitely is like treated more as a tech demo more than anything else.
I agree.
I can't believe you spoiled the game. How dare you?
It's
oh my god, you're
like
a lab
20
rat
years old.
being manipulated by
I also
technology for a
aware of
reason that is basically completely antiquated. Basically, the bad guy is capitalism. Shocker to
It's
everybody
always
involved.
capitalism, it turns out.
Yeah.
The bad guy is always either the Catholic Church or capitalism, one of the two.
They're kind of pretty intertwined, to be honest. So.
Did I send you the TikTok of the guy talking about like the Catholic Church in movies versus Catholic Church in the real life?
I don't think so, but by all means.
I know I sent it
didn't
to
see
Seth.
that.
It's
You
the
send
dude who
cute videos.
it's the dude who does like the history thing. It's just like Catholic Church is like, oh, big ominous, and like I know I sent maybe it was the Roman Empire version that I sent you, Seth.
Oh, maybe, yeah.
Yeah, he did a Catholic Church one,
Oh, okay.
which was also very similar.
Yeah.
I was
You
just
sent
like,
me raccoon videos, I think. You just sent me like cute animal videos, which I love.
we've established that the only thing you want to see from me are cute animals, so that's basically all I send you anymore. It's just
That's
Pokemon.
all I want to see from anybody, to be honest. Everything
honestly,
It's like
honestly,
I can send
every time I
Brie
see a
cute
raccoon
animals.
video, I'm like, I should send this to Brie, but she's probably already seen it.
Probably.
And then I
Probably
don't.
haven't.
Yeah, so I send
My feed.
Yeah, so I send Brie cute animals and Pokemon. I send Seth 9/11 jokes and trauma. And Creed, apparently, too.
Yeah, Creed has become a thing recently.
How are we all friends? We are such different creatures.
That's actually a thing. Brie, you and I are like so aligned on so many things, but just not at all on so many other things.
It's so funny. I'm like, I feel like in so many ways we are like the exact same fucking person, and then there's like these like huge deviant. Like I'm like, I don't think 9/11 jokes are funny at all, and it's like my least favorite kind of meme lord humor. So.
It's like a weird rock paper scissors thing that we all do. It's like there's places where me and Seth align, and then there's places where me and Seth are just like, all right, too far, bud. And same thing with you and me, Brie. Like it's just like things where you and me align, and then there's some things just like Brie would not appreciate this.
Are you saying you don't enjoy horizontal rotiendo fish? Are you saying you don't enjoy my German brain rot memes that I sent you?
Crazy, so weird.
Seth, you know I love you. But I feel like we need to talk.
Honestly, though, the stuff your wife sends me is way weirder than anything I send to you.
I can't so me and Emily do a TikTok roundup at the end of the night where we're like, we don't watch the things we send each other throughout the day. It's basically right before bed we just go through our like chat to each other and just go through all of the memes that we sent each other throughout the day. There are several times where there are things just like, did you send this to Seth? Like we have to ask the we have to ask the question. Like, did you send this to
full
Seth?
Of peanut butter.
Yeah.
The ice dispenser dispensing beans.
But yeah, like, see, that was the one where I was just like, I need you to get off the internet. The brain rot's getting a little too strong right now, guys. We need to go touch grass. But no, like, yeah, I think, like, especially with Brie, like, anytime, like, I do, like, the cabin trip stuff where I was hunting, I was just like, can't show any of this stuff to Brie.
Please don't.
Brie would not approve of anything I did on this trip.
No, certainly not.
But that elk was delicious.
Oh, I still have about a pound of deer meat sitting in the freezer that I'm making burgers with tonight.
Ooh, nom noms.
I love deer so much. They're like one of my favorite. I love woodland creatures so much. So, and I've
Here's
seen
the thing.
many.
Nice.
I love most animals for the most part. Deer are so fucking stupid that I don't feel guilty.
That's how I feel about horses.
And they're I get it. They're overpopulated. Like they need to be hunted. So I'm like, I understand that portion of it.
Yeah. There's that part of it, but it is also they are literally the stupidest animal.
Have you met a chicken?
No, chicken are assholes.
I love chickens.
Chickens choose violence.
My grandma keeps chickens, and they are just vicious creatures.
Yeah.
I can't wait to own some someday. That's my like goal. That's how I'll know I've like made it, that I get chickens, because I know they are like so sassy, so like they're kind of like cats. Like they're just like sort of assholes, and I like, love that about them.
Here's the problem with owning chickens, Brie. You have to protect them from raccoons.
Yeah,
and
actually,
they smell.
Yes, 100%. My friend who I play, actually the GM of my D&D group, she owned chickens when we first met her, and I held them, and they were so cute. They were all eaten by one opossum one day, who was able to sneak into the cage, ate all of them, and got too bloated to get out of where they were. So
So it was just like that possum that got into the bakery, if you've seen that meme, where it's just laying on top of a bunch of like crawlers, and it's just like
110%, but we're like with chickens.
This is actually super relevant. So I had my first session 0 for the Pathfinder campaign that I'm going to be doing. So I got to meet all my party and everything else for the first time. So it's me and Emily, and then DM's one of her friends from high school, and then like a bunch of his friends are also in the party. And so, session 0 is the feeling out, kind of getting everything acquainted. So there's one person in the party who is... So I'm a ranger, and this is the other person who's also a ranger, but they're playing a Leshy, which is basically a plant person who loves animals and wants to, like, doesn't want to hurt animals. This is like, so wait, you're a ranger and you don't want to, like, do hunting type stuff? Okay, so like
I range for plants.
Yeah, well, they're also only a month old, so like they are the chaos goblin of the campaign already. Like we established that very early. It's just like, okay, you're going to be the annoying chaotic party member who I'm basically going to try to get killed right away. But like it is one of those dynamics where I'm just like, I don't think you understand how this is going to work. But basically, everybody who is participating in the campaign, their knowledge of D&D and like tabletop RPGs is basically just playing Baldur's Gate. So it's just like, okay, so we're all at least on the same page here.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah,
amazing.
Yeah.
So how did we get on this tangent? How did we get on this tangent?
I don't know where I am right now.
A quick tangent. When I was a teenager, I used to go to LAN parties with some friends, and one of the guys was super into hunting, and he would always have elk and deer when we would have LAN parties. So I associate those meats with playing Xbox. So if that's a segue, use it.
It is a segue.
Well, speaking of Xbox, Xbox... Microsoft announced their slate for games in the early quarter of 2025, and they actually have some pretty interesting titles coming out, and it's actually pretty exciting because they actually now have a roadmap for games, which they haven't really done for a while, considering the fact that they've bought up a ton of studios, closed down a ton of studios, and basically have totally leaned into basically not giving a shit about selling consoles and just being Game Pass.
True. They really have.
Go ahead.
The one thing I noticed is that multiple of those games that are coming to Xbox are also coming to PC and PlayStation.
Yep, and because they have basically taken the stance of like, we don't give a shit as long as you're playing the game.
Yeah.
Whether you're playing it on Game Pass or if you paid $60 for it.
Just give
South
us that
of Midnight
money.
looks so cool. I hope that turns out well.
Yeah, no, I agree, but included on the list is the new Ninja Gaiden, which I know there's a lot of hype for. Basically, the Ninja Gaiden franchise is basically Dark Souls before Dark Souls was a thing.
Yeah. I've only ever played the Sega Genesis one, so I don't know.
Yeah, they're known for being super difficult. They're very difficult, timing based action games. So
Dark Souls, like you said.
Yeah, basically Dark Souls before Dark Souls was the thing. So a lot of people are excited about that. An interesting one is South of Midnight, which is already kind of getting people talking about being prepared for the shitty people online who complain about frame rates because
that comment section is terrible. Let me tell you.
Oh, I believe it. Well, it's because they chose an animation style that mimics stop motion, and because especially in the PC gaming crowd thing where it's just we talk so much about high frame rate gaming being what you want, stop motion doesn't really work for fast high frame rate stuff, and so
I think people are so fucking cool, and also people are fucking racist, which is so fucking dumb. Oh my god! It's
also it's a woman of color as the main protagonist, so therefore it must be a horrible game.
Hey, they're calling Doom the Dark Ages woke because it has difficulty sliders. They'll have a fucking field day with a woman of color being the lead.
Oh, yeah. Again, don't check that comment section. I don't know why I bother reading comments. I was like, oh, are people excited about this game? It looks pretty fucking cool. This is such a cool, setting. This is such a cool mythology to go through. This is very interesting. And people are just women. Just
no.
I don't want women in my games.
Yeah. No, I definitely think if you're going into it, understanding what they're going for with the art style, I don't think the gameplay is going to suffer all that much, especially since it's designed to be that way. It's not like it's a first-person competitive shooter. It's a linear, story-based game. So, it going along with the animation style, I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal. And if you have a problem with the fact that a black woman's a protagonist, I'm sorry, you're a racist, sexist piece of shit.
Suck all of our dicks. Thank you so much.
Yes.
Yes. Official stance of the show.
Yes.
Suck all our dicks. And Brie's got the biggest one, so you're gonna have to choke
as you know.
Can't confirm.
I haven't seen.
Not on air.
Remember, kids, stay strapped.
Keep it to the DMs.
Pre-show only. Pre-show content
Stay strapped is so fucking good.
Another game on the slate, Expedition 33. Very interesting concept. A lot of kind of conversations about it. It's getting a lot of comparison to Final Fantasy kind of type vibes to it, especially in how they're expressing the story.
It looks interesting, and I don't quite get it. There's a lot of different elements in there, lots of different stylistic meshing together. So I'm interested.
Kind of like Final Fantasy.
For sure, definitely.
But interesting concept. Very interesting how they try to kind of pull that off. And then the game that I know Seth is the most hyped for is Doom: The Dark Ages, because Doom.
Yeah. I fucking love Doom. It's such a great franchise.
I did talk about earlier in the show how after Portal, again, I called it the anti-first person shooter because you can't just point and click and get rid of the obstacle. You have to be creative about it. First thing I did was download Doom because I was just I need something where I'm just shooting demons.
Yeah. Right, just blowing them up, just shooting.
It's just give me a shotgun and let me kill demons. Let's go.
That's much more 2016. Doom Eternal has a weak point element where you can kind of approach every arena like a puzzle because you're what enemies do I need to take out first? What's the best way to take out those enemies? Whereas 2016 is just shoot it till it's dead. And that's what Doom is.
Yeah. But no, this one looks interesting, and specifically, they're going to have like more of a melee focus kind of to it because again, they're
Seems like it.
yeah, that's kind of what they're talking about. Where this is like they talked about how like Doom 2016 was like run and gun, like you said. Doom Eternal was more like jump and puzzle kind of based. This one's more or less like stand your ground, like almost playing like a tank, more or less. So I think that's very interesting on how they're approaching it. A lot of talks about how like it's not going to have Mick G on the audio score of it.
He got fucked over with Eternal, and like, I don't blame him for not coming back.
Yeah, so like a lot of people were talking about, I was like, man, music just doesn't quite hit like it did for Eternal in 2016. So
God,
but
I love those soundtracks. Mick Gordon, the GOAT. He's so good.
Oh yeah, no. If anybody, just go look at the Doom Eternal like OSTs. Like, great. Put it on your workout playlist or any time. Like, whenever you have to like have a bad case of road rage. Like, great soundtrack for that. Like, especially if you have like a long highway track and you just need something to keep you awake. Gets the adrenaline going.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, so I'm excited that like Xbox is like now getting into a flow of actually publishing games and not just trying to get by on selling you guys hardware that you don't want or just selling a Game Pass subscription. There's actual games coming out now. They've more or less abandoned trying to sell consoles at this point. They're definitely trying to kind of just sell the software side of it. Like they're more or less moving into just a publisher role, kind of like Sega and Rare did back in the day.
Do we think that will be the last Xbox console?
I do.
That's a great question.
I think they might go the route of what Steam tried to do, where they tried to make Steam machines, but they're going to be like lower cost, devices. But I think they're definitely going to try and get like Xbox, especially xCloud type services onto like TVs and stuff, and basically have it kind of be more like that, or like even have Xbox be like a certification on computer, like this will run Xbox games at whatever spec whenever they sell it. I think that's gonna be where they go, because one, Xbox and Sony both have only ever sold consoles at a loss. They've made their profits off of software sales, so I think that's kind of the direction they're going.
That makes sense. Sense.
I know a lot of people still constantly talk about like, it's just like, oh, Xbox doesn't sell nearly as much as Sony. It's just like, I don't think they're playing that game anymore. So the comparison just doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Switch 2 though.
Hey, Switch 2 is going to be a thing. It's basically the same thing you already have.
Yeah.
But bigger.
You don't know where it is. You won't know where that is either, because I don't know where my Switch is right now.
It's amazing.
Mine's right here just because I grabbed it earlier, but I haven't touched this thing in months, dude.
Yup.
Not since we did Breath of the Wild.
Yeah. Yeah, it's amazing how much hype there is for the Switch 2, despite the fact that like there's no selling point for the Switch 2 at this point.
Yeah.
Like they haven't announced any games that are going to be exclusive to it, which is always like bread and butter for selling a console, is like exclusives. Mm-hmm. They more or less have just advertised it. It's like it's a bigger, more powerful Switch, which is just like, okay, yeah, I will appreciate the extra horsepower for trying to play Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. But how much of it hardware difference? Because quite frankly, Nintendo has never given a shit about hardware power.
True. Not since the SNES. And also, it's like, oh, it's a portable PlayStation 4 is what I keep hearing. And I'm like, but the Steam Deck is a portable modern PC.
And I straight up have like almost bought a Steam Deck multiple times.
I bet. It's a good beat of hardware.
I drunk bought a Steam Deck and canceled the order like in the middle of the night after I ordered it. Like that's how close that's how close I've gotten to buying a Steam Deck.
Drunk purchases.
Just like that little moment of clarity in the middle of the night. It's just like, nope.
I own Resident Evil 4 because of a drunk purchase.
But regardless, it's like, yeah, there's more competition in the space when the Switch came out initially, because the handheld kind of console style thing wasn't really a thing. Steam Deck has changed that. The ROG Ally has basically entered the fray. A lot of other PC manufacturers make stuff off of that. Steam is going to have Steam OS coming out pretty soon. So even in the PC market, like that's going to blow up because like if I can build a gaming PC that's dedicated only for gaming and I don't have to have a Windows license, I can just have a Steam operating system on it and just have it straight up be for games. I'm like, yep, sign me up for that.
All over that, yes.
Yeah.
I'm more than happy to not pay Microsoft again.
Hey, you know, I would even be in on that. I'm a lifelong console gamer, but yeah, Steam is great with my minimal experience with it, and yeah, I'd be on board.
Yeah. The PC market's not looking great right now, to be completely honest. We just had new GPU announcements, and it sounds like they're charging a ton of money for not a lot of performance out of it. Not a lot of people are super excited about it.
Well, we'll watch those prices drop after NVIDIA gets hit this week.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on in those things. We'll actually talk about that in the next topic. But yeah, for the most part, like the value proposition isn't really quite there. A lot of hardware manufacturers are focusing a lot on the AI world, which we'll talk about a little bit. But yeah, the value is just not there at this point. Like, I wouldn't recommend somebody building a PC from scratch right now.
Well, thank God, because I was just about to buy a bunch of components, but now
it was in my car just now.
Yeah.
I mean, back when I had a job, I was just like, do I send Seth a PC to make him start playing Steam games? One of us. One of us.
You just want to play games with me. That's why.
Yes.
It's all ulterior motives.
Correct.
Yes, correct.
Because
I know
the reason, yeah.
Because I know I can content farm the shit out of that very easily.
Oh, the horrible things I will say in chat.
That's the strat. But yeah, no. Happy to see Xbox games. The path of gaming right now doesn't look super great. There's been a lot of layoffs and stuff. So, you know, we've talked about some of those stuff ad nauseum.
Of the CEOs, right? They're getting laid off. Those are the ones?
Yeah. You know, the guys who don't do anything but get all those huge bonuses. Those guys are definitely getting kicked to the curb. Not the people who are actually doing the fucking work.
Oh yeah. Pretty sure.
It's you know, we live in the best timeline.
Yeah.
The best.
Regardless, pay for indie games, go listen to Game Birds, and corporations aren't your friends.
No. Are you going to play Untitled Goose Game at some point? Is that on your bracket?
It's not, but let's definitely introduce it. Yeah.
It's a puzzle game as well.
I wanted to play it with my partner, and he's like, I played it with somebody else. I was like, oh, okay.
Oh.
Are they prettier than me?
Together.
What do they do that I don't?
I thought I was the silliest goose you knew. Tragic.
I'm so sorry for bringing up such a bad memory.
I'll cry after this. After this, it's fine.
Now Brie will only ever think about how she's not silly enough of a goose.
To
satisfy her partner.
Every woman's problem. I know. So relatable.
Anyways, we touched on it a little bit earlier in the previous topic, but DeepSeek exposes AI as a cash grab. Surprising absolutely fucking nobody.
Yeah, absolutely no one.
So for anybody who hasn't caught up on this topic, basically, company out of China basically unleashed their own AI service, basically competing directly with ChatGPT. Basically doing everything for cheaper, less hardware costs, less overhead, and everything else, and more or less caused the entire tech market to crash in the US because a lot of people were shoveling money into AI, being like, oh, we got to make sure this AI thing's going to be a big bet. And then once people found out, it's just like, yeah, it doesn't take that much money to actually fucking do this.
They're using outdated NVIDIA chips, and NVIDIA is one of the biggest proponents for our chips, our modern chips is what you need for AI. didn't it cause like a collective like $1 trillion downturn in the stock market?
Give or
Is
take.
that what I heard?
Yeah.
Fucking hell, man.
Yeah, I think Nvidia still has, I think, like just over a $3 trillion market cap, which is insane.
Only just over 3 trillion. I mean, how are they getting by?
But DeepSeek came out and basically is like, yeah, you don't even actually need GPUs to run this model.
Yeah, it was so fun to watch, but also kind of weird that like, fuck, man, is China outpacing us in every fucking way? We have, and just, as somebody who used RedNote for a little while, we are just falling so fucking behind as America.
In every facet, honestly.
Every facet. And we still try to bump ourselves up as, no, we're this great world. We are fucking not anymore.
Yep. There's been a lot of talk specifically how the tech industry, but I think it's also how our economy basically works, is that we don't give a shit about efficiency. We basically just pour coals onto the fire, keep the train moving at any cost. Don't even bother to be like, hey, do we really need to do all this stuff? Does this these things need to be here? Do these CEOs really need to be getting these huge bonuses? Like literally the entire thing was just like, because ever since we moved over to more of a financial fiscal side of economy as opposed to a labor economy, we have basically just been like fraud, waste, abuse, not bothering thinking like how the best way to do something is, and just shovel crap onto the fire.
Well, I feel like working in a corporate environment, because that was always I worked at like I won't name the name, but a huge kitchen equipment company, and we were all about innovation. And I feel like that's like the model for every company now, where it's just like, we got to innovate. Mm-hmm. They won't worry about the thing that they just innovated to see if it actually fucking works, because we got to keep innovating, and things would just constantly crash beneath what they just innovated on. And they don't seem to care, because then they could just fire whoever implemented that, whatever tier their like lower end manager they were, and then just be like, oh, well, that's okay, it's fine. That's how we've operated for a while. Now it's gonna fall out.
We basically constantly create bubbles. We created .com bubbles. There was the crypto bubble. There's the AI bubble that I constantly talk about. As somebody who has basically been on the job market for the last few months, like the amount of job applications and job postings I see that are basically like, we're an AI company with AI kind of stuff. It's like, what the fuck does that mean?
Yep.
Yeah.
Like, you can't even explain to me what you're talking about. You're just using buzzwords, trying to inflate your market value, and like, there's no basis for this. And that's been the problem with the AI market. And like, it's really interesting because now with DeepSeek and everything else, one, it's open source, so it doesn't have the whole boogeyman like, oh, China's stealing your data. It's like, no, like, you can change the coding of this however you want to. So that's not a thing. OpenAI talked about, it's like, they stole our coding. It's just like, yeah, that's what China does. That's what China's always done.
They stole our coding. I don't care that we stole all of our shit from the entire internet. It's okay when we steal.
That's the irony. It's just kind of like, hi, congratulations, you now understand what the fuck was wrong with your model to begin with. How's it feel, assholes? But like, yeah, but like, the fact that basically that somebody was able to create specifically AI models in a way that is open source and does not require nearly as much resources as what we were doing, just kind of proves that it's just like, this was always a cash grab.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Always a cash grab. And just like, no one's shocked by this, because like, honestly, I haven't seen anything from artificial intelligence or generative AI specifically that has made me go, it's just like, yes, this is totally worth throwing trillions of dollars at.
Some of those sex bots are pretty good.
Would you pay $1 trillion for a sex bot though?
How realistic is it? Hey, I'm looking at a $300 Pokemon plush that I want to fuck right now, so leave me alone.
It's like, look, the best we can do is like plugging
I forgot the name of it.
The best we could do is a Mark Zuckerberg model inside of your MetaQuest. The best we can do.
Oh, does he do anal?
Yes, but it's a power bottom.
Oh, I want to be the power. Hold on, I'm looking up which plush it is.
This is really important. I need to know.
No, because Pokemon did just announce a life-size plush of one of the Pokemon that is like known for people who are like, I want to fuck that thing.
Super horny.
So the
Many
joke.
of those. I'm like, is it the bunny? People want to fuck Chansey too, so I just like.
Oh, Low Bunny. Yeah, Low Bunny.
Yeah, I was about to say
one.
this is Gen 5. I cut off at Gen 3, so like the fuckability of Pokemon has scaled over years.
So don't look Pokemon plush fuck if you want to find this thing.
Say search off. Say search off.
Gardevoir. Gardevoir is the name of it.
She's hot. You're right.
But yeah, a lot of people also want to fuck Vulpix.
Yeah, that's an old school one.
Yeah. Vulpix or Ninetales?
No, not Vulpix. It's it's Vaporeon. That's the one I meant. Thank you.
I was about to say it's got to be one of the EV evolutions.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Boy, I derailed that conversation. I'm sorry.
So, leave in the comments, which Pokemon do you want to stick it into the most?
Okay, I want you to know, I'm sure you probably already figured this, but like when I search Gardevoir, people also search for the bunny one, Vaporeon. I was like, oh no. Oh no.
Brie, do me a favor, do not go onto DeviantArt for the next like 48 hours.
Listen, I made that mistake before, and I was like, oh gosh, oh no. Innocent mind, I had no idea.
The first shiny that I ever caught was a Lopunny, and I remember telling my friend like, "Oh, I caught a shiny Lopunny," and he was like, "Dude, I don't think you should tell other people that." And I was like, "Why not?" And he's like, "Just look it up.
Trust me. just trust me." First shiny I ever caught was a Geodude in Gen 3.
Not so fuckable.
That's a good one. Yeah, no.
For you.
Hey, he's got those fists.
Yep. Don't yuck my yum.
Technically, the first shiny we all caught was Gyarados, because that was a story element in second gen.
Yeah, I don't feel like that counts, because that's not technically a rare, that's a story beat.
Yeah, I never thought it counted either, but people will get mad at us.
Hey, good. Cybertrucks still suck.
Oh, they're fucking awful.
I've started
cars.
I was about to say, I've seen a lot less of them on the road ever since the Nazi salute.
I still see way too many of them, and now I try to purposely just like make a disgusted face. I'm like, I want them to see me. I want them to see me looking at them.
I saw one that had like the vinyl wrap on it, specifically promoting the dude's business, and the business was a bounce castle. So it's just like, so why do you need a Cybertruck for this?
Oh, I'm a Nazi and a weirdo. All right.
I mean, those kind of go hand in hand, I suppose.
True.
I was about to say, when was the last time you met a normal Nazi?
Oh my god.
It's not a story I can tell. And the answer is never.
We'll save that for the show.
He
seemed so normal and totally okay, and just like
no.
And then he pulled out the laundry sheets.
All right, no, I will tell this story. This was well over a decade ago. I was working with a woman. Her boyfriend dropped her off, and things were awkward between them. I had never met him before. Mm-hmm. I walk up. I'm like, hey, hi, I'm coworker or whatever. We introduce ourselves. We walk into work, and she's like, yeah, so I just found out this morning he's a neo-Nazi. And I'm like, you fucking what? And she's like, yeah, we live together. I don't know what to do. Like, I have to find a new lease and shit. And I'm like, yeah, you fucking gotta get the shit out of there. I was nice to him. What did you... well, this friend is not the brightest person.
Okay. I was about to say, we all have a stupid friend. Like,
fair.
I love them to death. But yeah, this... Fuck. And I was like... You couldn't have told me that before I like shook his hand and was like, "Hey, nice to meet you." You couldn't have been like, "No, just go inside. Just go.
Yeah.
Like, we'll talk later."
It's just like if I knew that, I would have grabbed his hand, pulled him in, and just like haymakered.
Yeah, I was like, I would have punched him. He was in his car with the window down. He couldn't have done anything. And she's like, I know, just. And I'm like, you got to get out of that relationship.
To any friends who are in a similar situation.
He's dead now, by the way.
Oh, thank God.
Rightfully so. Yeah.
Right. Rest in distress, my dude.
Yeah.
Yes.
To anybody who is remotely in that situation, I am more than happy to offer my services as armed security while you get your shit out of that apartment, house, or wherever domicile that you need to move out of, because I am very pro punching and or other bodily harm toward Nazis. So
yes,
always.
more than happy to do that.
Also, bear in mind, this was 13, 14 years ago, so it's been a while since I was in that that place.
Crazy.
Maybe cut that. I don't know. Should we keep that in? Is that something we should keep?
Bad. Honestly, of the things you've told, I don't think that's a bad one.
Yeah.
I think there's more incriminating things than that one.
What was worse than that?
I actually threatened actual violence, so like
sure, you had to bleep a whole thing you said.
Right.
Yes, I did. Which I did, by the way. I do know how to censor myself.
Good.
I'm not going to censor Seth. That's his own problem.
I'm never going to be employed again. It's fine.
The way things are going right now.
Yeah.
Anyways, so one of the thoughts I kind of had, because the recent political climate had been reintroduced me to some music that I hadn't listened to in a long time, I was kind of thinking, let's talk about some of our music recommendations to each other, because Seth, I know me and him have quite a broad overlap in our taste in music, but I know there's probably some major differences. Brie, I was kind of curious to hear like maybe some music recommendations that you had.
Oh, gosh, this is tough. And I might have mentioned this previously, but I am not really an artist person. I am very much a single person. Like I like individual songs.
That's fair.
Except for Kanye, which we talked about on the last show.
He is not on my playlist at all. As much as that pains me, because some of those songs are real fucking good. But there's other artists, thankfully. With the exception of like The Weeknd, I like quite a bit, but not all of his stuff. In fact, I'm not really digging his new album, which is a bummer. So I need to listen to it again. And then Les X, who has not released anything in a hot second, which is a bummer because
It's been a minute, yeah.
I adore him and I will forever adore him. I'm trying to think. Yeah, I'm like looking at my liked songs. They're all over the fucking place. I will say it would try to shock some of you. I have a Luke Combs song on here because every now and again, sometimes that shit hits right. Actually, and okay, listen, it's Where the Wild Things Are, which is a very, very fucking sad song. Sometimes I like sad music, and country music, especially from a storytelling perspective, is great. That's not where country music is in general right now. So this is like a small little outlier. It is the only country song I have on my playlist, but
you don't got any Morgan Wallen on there?
Weirdly enough, not. So, he's also not that good. Like, so I don't know why people are mad about it. So, Sabrina Carpenter is super fucking fun. I finally get her, so that's been fun.
Love Sabrina.
She's so fucking good.
You got some Charlie XCX on there?
Unfortunately, I do not get Charlie XCX at all. So.
I was about to say, I don't think Charlie XCX is Brie's vibe, if I'm going to be completely honest.
Here's the problem. I feel like I like her songs for like the first minute and then they keep going. And I'm just like, oh, we could have. Just a terrible thing to say, but I'm like, okay, this is a bop. I'm enjoying it. I was like, oh, okay, but this beat is just continuing.
It's the Spider-Man 3 of music of just like, we could have cut like 75% of this.
I know. I feel like people say all the time that like music has gotten shorter and shorter. I'm like, I wish her music would get shorter and shorter because like there's good concepts there, there's good beats there that I like, but then I'm like, oh god, we're 2 minutes into the song. This song does not need to be 2 minutes long. So yeah, I don't know. My shit's really all over the place. So,
You definitely
oh,
have way more contemporary stuff than I do, that's for sure.
How
because notably, I had to teach a pole party yesterday, and they requested pour some sugar on me, and I was like, oh my god,
Oh,
I can't think of a worse fucking request because that is so generic and
I was
stupid, and
about
I
to
hate
say,
that era
really,
of
like,
music so much.
Ah. How do you both
But
feel about Chappell Roan?
I I think she's so fucking talented. I don't like all of her songs. I like the ones I like, I
Agreed.
love, but I feel like all the other ones, I'm just like, I could take it or leave it. They're not on my playlist. She's super talented, and I think she deserves all the success she has. But and I think she's a very important artist, especially in this day and age. And I'm glad she's so successful. But I like Pink Pony Club is a masterpiece. That is one of the best songs I've ever heard. Especially because I feel like that song, like people who don't like that kind of music, like that song. It is just like
yeah.
transcends the genre. And Good Luck Babe is also just like a classic. Like that's what like propelled her to success.
I
But
was
those
about to
are
say
like
that one might be my favorite from I've heard, but like, yeah, in terms of like she's very obviously obviously this was not made for me, so therefore like I don't have an opinion because this obviously was not music that was made for me in the first place.
yeah.
Mm.
It kind of was made for me, and I don't necessarily like it. But I still like, yeah, again, I'm super talented. It's just it's not for me. So I feel like I've heard Hot to Go is great too, but that took a while to grow on me. So and all the other songs I've heard, I'm like,
I'm sick of Hot to Go. That song has
it
been
got
so
old very quickly. I
overplayed for
super get
me.
that.
Yeah. At this point, I
Overplayment will do that too. Just about any artist.
yeah.
Kendrick Lamar, of course, had a banger year last year. His new album is so
Bing
fucking
bop
good.
boom 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 bam.
I'm looking forward to the 30 minutes of the Super Bowl halftime show that I'm going to watch and just ignore the
I'm like,
rest
I
of
will
it.
actually watch the Super Bowl this year, and by that I mean just the halftime show because that's gonna fucking pop off. It's gonna be so good.
He did mustard too, right?
Oh my god,
Yep.
that is in my head rent free all the time.
Look,
That's a great drop.
I'm just looking forward to basically him calling Drake a pedophile in front of literally billions of
The
people.
A minor in that huge stadium. Oh, nothing better.
Yeah,
be
broadcast
great.
literally to everybody around the globe. Just so good.
Actually, another note on that
good.
is I don't know if you've had the pleasure. I discovered this recently. A YouTube rabbit hole I went down is people reacting to Kendrick Lamar's new album. Those videos are those reaction compilations. There is so much joy. They love him so much, and they get so fucking hyped anytime he does anything, and it is just so lovely. So it really made me smile. So I've been really enjoying those compilations.
Very nice. I'll have to look those up.
Carter Vale, I think, is kind of underrated. He's the one who did the Dirt Man song.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love his stuff. It's
a great fucking artist.
Even outside of the TikToks and like the meme videos that he does, it's just like I'm just like, this is a genuinely talented musician. Like his stuff is really good.
Yeah, no, he's great.
Oh good. I'm glad other people know about him because I feel like people are like, oh yeah, I've heard that Dirt Man song. I was like, he actually is a great artist. Like, granted, his joke stuff is also really good, but like
every time I get a video of his, the first thing I do is send it to Emily. It's the first thing I do every single time.
Nice.
No, Dirt Man. She's already annoyed with me.
Ah.
All right, Seth, what about you? What have you been listening to?
Honestly, I've been listening to a lot of Green Day, like a lot of pop punk stuff for the last couple months.
I'm sorry.
I know. But because we were doing recommendations, I specifically went through and wrote down some artists that I enjoy that maybe not a lot of other people have listened to. St. Vincent or Annie Clark, she's a fucking genius. I love her music so much. Rubble Bucket is another one. They're kind of ska influenced. Their EP, If You See My Enemy, is one of my favorite EPs of all time. If you're looking for something heavier, Bloodywood, they're kind of a new metalish band out of India. Very good. And then, stuff that I think both of you are familiar with, but like Protoman, Aaron, you and I went to a Protoman show together. Tom Waits is incredible. I love Tom Waits. Bad
Always
as
a
Me
good solid
is
one.
Yeah, Bad as Me is just a solid record from start to finish. They Might Be Giants.
That's always
Flood
fun.
is
Absolutely.
Flood is so good. And then if we're getting into the weird shit that I listen to, The Shags is Philosophy of the
wow.
World is probably one of my favorite records of all time. I love it. Every Halloween I post It's Halloween on my Instagram story. That's such a good song. And then Ivo Papazov and his Bulgarian Wedding Band. He's a clarinetist out of, surprise, Bulgaria. And I love that shit. I love Ivo Papazov. And then, Strapping Young Lad, Frank Zappa. That's everyone I wrote down.
Yeah, Frank Zappa's always a good choice. Always a good
The
time.
Muffin Man is a great song. Yeah.
I remember in high school you could take rock and roll history as a replacement for an English class, and so I remember we had an entire week on Frank Zappa. It was so fun.
Oh, nice. That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, more recent events had me kind of getting back to some of my like hardcore punk roots. So like I was just like I rediscovered the Dead Kennedys for like the 5th time. I was just like, oh
nice.
yeah, the Dead Kennedys are always great. I love this, and so I went down a post-hardcore kind of rabbit hole for a while. On the way home from the gym, we had the Circle Jerks on. That was a fun time. Bad Religion's always one. I saw them live like a few years ago. If you're going more the pop punk route, I still really love Alkaline Trio as kind of a good like pop punk, and they don't have any sexual assault allegations that I'm aware of. Please don't. Just please don't.
That's
don't
always the problem with pop punk.
Yeah. But yeah, they're from Chicago, so Brie, Chicago connection for you if you're interested in listening to Alkaline Trio.
I'm familiar. I've never listened to them at all, though. So
they're really good. Give them a shot. If you don't like it, it's fine. I'm not going to be offended. So yeah, I've been listening to a lot of that stuff. I've gotten kind of into like more of like looking into kind of like classic folk music. I think I started listening to some more Woody Guthrie recently, especially getting into the This Machine Kills Fascist type vibes, all that type stuff. Just more or less getting back to more of kind of like my roots in music and like kind of the things that I appreciate a little bit more. Like again, like a lot of modern stuff just doesn't resonate for me very often, but every now and again you just find something that just has like a really kind of nice, like I appreciate like the production value and like you like the art of doing this, and like this is the thing that you like to do as opposed to just like I made a song for popularity's sake.
Mm-hmm.
This may be a hot take. Nickelback has some of the best production. Like their songs aren't great. Nickelback's production is incredible.
Oh yeah, it's generic as hell, but their production is great.
Yeah, their guitars sound so good.
Yeah, and then I would be remiss to not mention Emily has been on a huge Baby No Money kick as of late. So there's been a lot of Baby No Money in this house.
I've picked up on that from some of the memes you guys have sent me.
She has a lot of it has to do with like a lot of the arcane memeing going on lately, but he's playing very heavily into it. I don't know if either of you guys have seen that, but
I've seen some of it.
Brie, have you watched Arcane season 2 yet?
I have not. I've not been in the headspace for it. So,
that might be why you haven't fallen down the rabbit hole. I can't get away from it.
That's fair.
But yeah, so that's been pretty fun. And like, he's just having a good time. It's white boy rap, but at least he knows who he is.
Yeah.
Which I don't mind white boy rap a lot of the time. Like, I was very big in the Watsky back in the day and that kind of stuff. Like, as long as there's like an understanding that like we know what we're about, son.
If you don't put on a black scent, that's even better. So please don't do that.
Yeah, don't do that.
Don't Ariana Grande it and pretend
for the love
you're
of God,
different
no.
races.
Iggy Azalea, yeah, exactly.
Iggy did it too, didn't she? Fuck.
100%. At the risk of sounding like very pretentious, but I think you'll understand me on this. I'm like, I feel like because I am a dancer, I do listen to music very differently than I like did before I started dancing.
Yeah.
So that skews my music taste quite a bit because I'm like a
Yeah,
couple other people I want to
absolutely.
mention super quick was Teodora, who's actually a Serbian artist that I discovered recently. Her stuff is super, super fun. And I hope I'm not pronouncing his name wrong, but I think it's Khalid. But he put out an album a couple months ago, and that's super, super good. But again, I love dancing to it because it's very like slow and vibey. And there's one more one. Oh, Snow Wife. Snow Wife is chaotic, like stripper fun music, and she has a crazy range. The first song I heard from her, I thought there was 3 guest artists on it, but it was just her doing slightly different inflections. I was like, okay. And she also has a
Wow.
song called "Fuck," which is like, it's excellent because the chorus is just a choir like slowly saying "fuck" louder and louder, and it is just a really good vibe. I want to choreograph
That's
it so
fun. I like
badly.
that.
I'll have to listen to
And
that.
Yeah.
she also has a song called American Horror Show, and if I ever do a show in Canada, I am definitely dancing to a song called American Horror Show. I just think it would be an excellent vibe. So
Yep.
Yes.
Well, my favorite musical artist actually is on the show. His name is Seth. And he actually sent me a intro song, actually.
Oh shit, you got that. I remixed it because I'm not happy with that mix, so I'll send you the better one.
Okay. Well, I got it. I really liked it. Now I have to think it's just like, okay, now how do I make this work as an intro? Like, I have the audio, now I need the visual. But yeah, by all means, send me the remix and everything else. And I'll figure out a way to get that to work. The problem is like we're not a super hyper visual show, obviously.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to figure out like I don't want it to just be like a static frame of just and then going into the thing. I want to actually like have something to go along with it. I just need to figure out what I'm gonna do.
All right. Yeah, I specifically made it as short as I could.
No, I
So
liked
that it
it.
could
I
be an
loved it.
intro.
And I thought it was perfect. But obviously, you and me both being on the artistic end of the spectrum were basically just like it's never gonna be good enough.
Yeah.
I hate everything I've ever made.
Yep.
Same.
Which
I
is why I
sat
don't
back.
have kids.
I
I also have that kind of
do,
autism
and I
vibe.
hate them. Sorry?
I also have that kind of autism. That's really rude.
No,
I said
sat back.
artism, which was basically art and autism combined.
Yes.
Yeah. When I finished the demo, I sat back and I realized I recorded it on a Les Paul Jr., which is Billy Joe's main guitar, and my bass just using the P bass pickup, which is Mike Dirnt's setting, through simulated amps that they use. And I'm like, oh shit, I just ripped off Green Day for this, didn't I? This just sounds like a Green Day song.
I did get that vibe. You were obviously going for the pop punky vibe, which I enjoyed. I liked. It had a little bit more of a hardcore lean. And had kind of more of that sound. It sounded like basically, I think, pre-Dookie Green Day more than it sounded like American Idiot Green Day, obviously.
Ah.
But that was my vibe. I liked it.
Yeah, okay. I'm glad you liked it.
I also like how you and me both are like, okay, so bass, P bass pickup only.
Yeah, I'm not using that J pickup. Fuck the J bass.
No, the J bass is awful. I don't know anybody who should use that ever.
Yeah, I mean, Flea can make it sound good, but his lead singer's a pedophile, so fuck them.
Yeah, no, I did discover after getting a bass, it's just like, oh, am I just a more natural bass player than I am a guitar player? Because ever since I've gotten a bass, I was just like, man, I suck at guitar, but I'm okay at bass.
It is so nice to sit with a bass for a little while after you've been playing guitar for a few years. It's just, oh, I get this. This is so comfortable.
It's because the fundamentals sound so much better than when you're trying to do it on a guitar, where like the fundamentals just sound super boring and flat.
Yeah.
I don't play musical instruments, but I'm so happy to be here. Thank you.
I was gonna say we've lost Brie entirely.
Yeah, I was just like, Brie, just sit there and look pretty.
I could have walked away at any point.
Brie's just the DEI hire.
And unfortunately, we will be letting you go due to recent things.
Restructuring, you know.
Yeah.
Woof. Fuck Target, by the way, and I'm very sad about that. That was very hard for me because I fucking love Target, but fuck them.
I do too, and yeah, that sucked.
That's been the hard got so far.
I was about to say, I'm gonna have to look that up because I hadn't heard anything about Target.
Oh yeah, they disbanded with their DEI policies
super quickly too. Like they were like, "Oh,
shocker!
Yeah.
Yes,
Oh, this isn't a federal requirement anymore." Peace.
Yeah, 100%.
It's so funny because it feels like that the show we watched meme, Umbrella Academy, where it's Elliot Page and the other actor seeing each other in cars. But it's my grandma boycotting Target because they said they were going to go to gender neutral bathrooms, and me boycotting Target because they got rid of DEI.
That is very, very
laughing
much
boy,
true.
don't cry. So
Yeah.
But remember, that's what's causing plane crashes now is DEI, just so everyone knows.
100%.
Yeah. Diversity.
Yeah.
I live under a couple airways. I hear helicopters and planes going all over me all the time. And this last week has been kind of scary.
Yeah. I bet. Anyways.
I keep hearing fire trucks go by and I'm like, did one crash? What happened?
who's to say? What a nightmare.
Definitely been very active for first responders in the middle of the night in my area. That's for sure.
I bet.
Oh, God.
Anyway, so that brings us close to the end of our show, which means we need to assign the next homework assignment, which is assigned by Brie. So, Brie, what are we doing next week?
Okay, so I know I said I wanted us to like space out video games, but if y'all are down and we can make this work, which I think we can, because I think this is on a couple different platforms, but I would love for us to play Unpacking, because I think that's a very influential indie game. It is the reason Game Birds exists.
I was about to say, that was the first show you guys did on Game Birds, wasn't it?
Well, and it inspired the podcast as well, because we talk about that game so much, like IRL, that I was like, I would love for you all to play it. And also, I'm happy to buy it because I know it's a little more on the expensive side for an indie game, but just let me know. But yeah, if you guys don't mind, I would love for you to play it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's on Switch and PS5, so I've got options.
Perfect.
Awesome.
It's a super short game, and it's very, very chill. Like, I think you could probably get through it in like 3-4 hours. So
Okay.
it's but I'm excited to talk about it.
Yeah. Oh, we can do that.
Oh, that sounds good to me. All right, so we'll do Unpacking for the next internet friends. Anyways, I am TCK Media Productions on most platforms. You can find that Seth23 on the Tiki of Talkies now that it's been brought back to life.
Yes. I'm sorry for just so many things.
And then, of course, we have the Raccoonaloon herself, who you can also find on her show, The Game Birds, that she does, talking about indie games. So if you want 100% more Brie and less Seth and Aaron, we totally understand. We get it.
Birds.
More birds.
More birds.
But anyways, that's all we have for this episode, and we will see you guys next time.
Bye.